Hey guys, I'm excited to let you know that any minute now, we'll be getting a call from Dan Myrick, co-creator of the Blair Witch Project, who's going to chat with us about the Blair Witch experience in his new film, Believers. City Morgue, you stab him, we slap him. Oh, hi Dan, thanks for giving us a call. I'm sure everyone out there is curious to hear about the Blair Witch. With all the success you and Eduardo Sanchez achieved with that flick, were there any downsides to it?
Oh yeah, I mean, something that's that successful is kind of a double-edged sword. We were just inundated with expectations, and you have to kind of come to terms on some level with yourself as an artist and a filmmaker that, you know, the likelihood of repeating kind of lightning in the bottle, which was Blair Witch, again, is the odds are pretty slim. And it's hard not to be compared to Blair Witch. Whatever we do from this point on is always going to be compared to Blair Witch. So it's good and bad. You know, it's good in the sense that it's nice to be known for something, but at the same time, you want to have a body of work rather than just one title that you're known for your whole career. You know, although it opens doors for opportunity for you, you want each project you do to be judged on its own merits and not as compared to Blair Witch Project.
Is this why you've stayed mostly in the independent film world and away from Hollywood?
Well, it's tough to call because, you know, initially once Blair Witch kind of went through the roof and was such a huge success, I mean, beyond any of our expectations, we got tons of offers to do all these movies, but I just have to say most of them were just really bad, just bad scripts. And Ed and I just felt no inspiration to do them, and we kind of did a 180 and said, you know, we want to do this comedy right after Blair Witch, just to show the world we can do a comedy, and that kind of fell flat on its face, and so we learned some valuable lessons that, well, maybe we should have done something a little more in our genre to kind of be a stepping stone to the next thing or the next thing. So it's been kind of a trial by fire on one level, but at the same time, I'm reticent about just doing something to do it. You know, I have to be emotionally connected to the material, otherwise I'm not having fun. Blair Witch fortunately gave us the means to kind of, you know, be able to make a decent living, and not have to say yes to any project, you know, because we have to pay the mortgage or something, you know. So I've had the luxury of being able to kind of be a little choosy about what I get involved with and be able to bring some of my ideas to life on an independent level, and that's provided me with, you know, a lot of creative freedom, and that, you know, may not be as high profile or be as quick turnaround as if I went right into the studio system, but it is certainly every bit, if not more, satisfying.
Do you believe in werewolf affirmative action in hiring a lycanthrope as, say, an editor on your next project?
Yeah, I'd have to strongly consider it. I think one of my biggest issues with werewolf editors is they leave a lot of hair on the keys. So whenever you're kind of doing double shifts with those guys, you just want to make sure that they kind of clean up their shed and all the werewolf fur. So, but outside of that, they're pretty good editors.
Your new film, Believers, it's about cults and not about werewolves. Why cults this time now?
I guess part of me likes the idea of, you know, a couple of ordinary people being put into a situation that they have no real idea how to get out of. And I thought it might be interesting to make that situation kind of this closed society centered around this cult. And the ticking clock being that they're kind of a doomsday cult. So there's this imminent death for these guys that if they don't find a way out of this situation, everything goes to So I wanted to set up that kind of emotional tension and that kind of real-time uncomfortableness, I think, that would be in that kind of situation. So a cult was a good backdrop for that. And on top of it, my wife, Julia, who helped co-write the script, kind of found a way to have a twist on the cult itself. So in another way, it kind of challenged our conventions on how we perceive cults and whether or not they really are run by wackos or not. So it was kind of fun to challenge some of those conventions and house within a good old-fashioned kind of visceral, real-time, fish-out-of-water story.
What did you want to achieve with Believers the most?
All the intellectualism and witty dialogue and, you know, layered subtext doesn't mean a damn thing if you don't engage on an emotional level with a film. So that, to me, is the first thing a film has to do. And that's what I try to do with Believers. Underneath that, if you want to drill down, you've got, you know, some potential social commentary going on and some things that may challenge your views of religion versus science and how they may not necessarily be mutually exclusive. So although I like to think I'm able to kind of lace that in the overall kind of storyline, I think if, you know, one has to choose is that you want people to engage your stuff on an emotional level, because at the end of the day, that's what I think drives them from point A to point B.
Are there any similarities between believers in the Blair Witch?
I certainly learned a lot from Blair Witch, and I think primarily it was allowing actors kind of the freedom to improvise. It's certainly more of a traditional narrative in its methodology and the way it was shot than Blair Witch was. But what I took away from Blair Witch was you can never underestimate an actor's ability to bring, something kind of magical to a moment or a scene. So I like to promote that as much as possible while maintaining kind of the narrative path that everyone must follow in order to kind of have a movie. So there's quite a bit of kind of allowing the actors to have a little free rein and not feel obligated to stick to every ooh and ah or word of the script. I like to think the script is more of kind of a visual outline for them to follow and allow kind of their natural reactions and responses to come out on film, which is something you can't script. So that, I think, I like to apply to almost every movie I do, and I find that really kind of rewarding, because without fail you get something, caught on film that you just could not have scripted in a million years.
Do you think there is a place for a suave werewolf in any future projects?
Absolutely. I think I might do a romantic comedy starring a werewolf. I don't think anyone's done that before, and if you get the right actor for the role, I think werewolves could be pretty sexy.
Well, thank you, Dan, for taking time out from your busy schedule to talk with us. It's been a real pleasure. And there you have it, folks, our very first interview. In our next show, we'll be talking to a lovely Serena Vincent, star of the new movie Return to House on Haunted Hill. But now let's see what's coming up in our next show. Woohoo!